Imagine a life where every venture seems doomed from the start. A promising business collapsing despite meticulous planning, a string of failed relationships despite genuine effort, opportunities vanishing just as they seem within reach. Is this simply a case of relentless bad luck, an unlucky roll of the cosmic dice? Or could something far more insidious be at play, something that turns misfortune into a self-fulfilling prophecy? What if the very belief in bad luck is the key to understanding the failure effect? A phenomenon where attributing setbacks to external forces diminishes your sense of control, reduces your drive, and inadvertently sets you on a path toward repeated disappointment. We'll introduce the failure effect, revealing how our interpretations of luck may have profound, real-world repercussions, creating a pattern where individuals consistently point fingers at external circumstances rather than seeking solutions within themselves. While luck undoubtedly influences our lives, the central focus will be on the critical interplay between our perception of luck and our subsequent responses to it. It is not luck itself, but how you respond to your luck that truly dictates your trajectory. Overcoming the failure effect is not just about dodging misfortune. It's about unlocking your full potential and reclaiming agency over your life's narrative. This exploration has far-reaching implications, touching all aspects of existence: career aspirations, intimate relationships, financial stability, and even physical and mental well-being. Prepare to delve into the psychological depths of attribution theory and learned helplessness, alongside the profound philosophies of Stoicism and existentialism. The journey will culminate in a powerful emphasis on personal responsibility and heightened self-awareness, not as idealistic concepts, but as concrete antidotes to the seemingly inescapable tragedy of bad luck. To begin, consider humanity's inherent yearning for control and the predictability it offers, a desire that frequently clashes with the universe's inherent ambiguity. We crave certainty, yet life is a tapestry woven with chance encounters and unforeseen circumstances. This sets the stage for our central concept, attribution theory. This theory provides the psychological architecture for understanding how individuals explain the causes of both their successes and their failures, an explanation that profoundly shapes their subsequent actions and beliefs. Central to this understanding is the concept of locus of control, whether we perceive events as stemming from internal factors, our own actions and choices, or external forces, luck, fate, or other people's actions. This perception is intimately connected to our individual attribution styles. A foundational pattern can be observed through common attribution biases, most notably the self-serving bias, wherein we conveniently attribute successes to our inherent abilities while deflecting blame for failures onto external circumstances. Then there's the fundamental attribution error, the tendency to overemphasize dispositional factors when explaining the behavior of others, often overlooking the influence of situational contexts. But how deeply do you truly examine your own role in the setbacks you encounter? Are you prone to citing external factors, or do you embrace ownership of your missteps, viewing them as opportunities for growth? How does this inclination mold your motivation, shape your self-esteem, and ultimately define your life's trajectory? Consistently attributing failures to bad luck carries hidden perils, potentially leading to a self-perpetuating cycle of learned helplessness and a significant erosion of your perceived potential. Could blaming bad luck be a subtle yet insidious mechanism for shielding ourselves from uncomfortable truths lurking within? What role could shadow projection play in this cycle? As we move forward, we'll be teasing out the exploration of Stoic and existentialist philosophies, offering alternative frameworks to navigate the unpredictable nature of existence and empowering you to embrace personal responsibility as a pathway to resilience and meaning. The inherent human desire for predictability and control, previously mentioned, extends far beyond mere preference. It's a fundamental drive shaping our perception of the world. This deep-seated need compels us to seek explanations for events, especially when those events disrupt our sense of order and well-being. Attributing causality, whether accurately or not, provides a psychological buffer against the anxiety generated by randomness and uncertainty. But what happens when this quest for control becomes overly emphasized, leading to distorted interpretations of reality? How does this skewing of perception then impact our capacity to learn from mistakes and adapt to the inherent unpredictability of life? Consider a business owner whose venture fails despite careful planning and initial success. It would be easy, and perhaps psychologically comforting, to attribute the failure solely to a sudden market downturn, an unforeseen external event seemingly beyond their control. While the market downturn may have undoubtedly contributed, focusing exclusively on this external factor can obscure a critical examination of internal factors, such as flawed business strategies, inadequate marketing efforts, or poor financial management. By downplaying these internal elements, the business owner avoids confronting uncomfortable truths about their own decisions and capabilities. This self-protective mechanism, while offering temporary relief from feelings of inadequacy, ultimately prevents them from identifying and rectifying the underlying issues, perpetuating a cycle of potential future failures. This is where the need for control can be seen to subtly sabotage genuine growth and adaptation. This need for control is intimately connected to a well-documented psychological phenomenon known as the self-serving bias. Just as we saw earlier, this bias predisposes individuals to readily take credit for successes, attributing them to their skills, intelligence, or hard work, while simultaneously deflecting blame for failures onto external circumstances or the actions of others. This selective attribution serves to inflate the illusion of control, reinforcing the belief that we are the masters of our own destinies. However, the dangers of this illusion are significant. Consistently denying the influence of external factors or the role of chance can prevent individuals from developing realistic expectations, assessing risks accurately, and adapting to uncontrollable realities. This maladaptive pattern sets the stage for a particularly insidious consequence. Learned helplessness, a concept we'll delve into next, where the persistent externalization of blame can erode your sense of agency, leading to passivity and despair. Martin Seligman's experiments on learned helplessness in dogs provide a stark illustration of this phenomenon. Dogs subjected to inescapable electric shocks initially tried to avoid the discomfort. However, when they learned that their actions had no effect on the shocks, they eventually ceased attempting to escape, passively enduring the pain. This groundbreaking research demonstrated that when individuals or animals perceive a lack of control over their environment, they can develop a state of learned helplessness, characterized by passivity, reduced motivation, and a generalized expectation that their actions are futile. This research, while initially conducted on animals, has profound implications for understanding human behavior and the development of mental health challenges. Learned helplessness can readily translate to human experience, manifesting as a pervasive sense of powerlessness in the face of adversity. Imagine a student who consistently blames poor exam grades on bad tests or unfair grading, rather than acknowledging the role of inadequate study habits or a lack of understanding of the material. This external attribution style, while seemingly protective of their self-esteem, can lead to a self-defeating cycle. If the student believes that their performance is solely determined by external factors beyond their control, they are less likely to invest effort in improving their study skills or seeking help from teachers or tutors. Consequently, their performance may continue to suffer, reinforcing their belief in external control and perpetuating a sense of helplessness. Over time, this pattern can contribute to feelings of depression, anxiety, and a diminished sense of self-efficacy. The key lies in understanding your attribution style, the manner in which you habitually explain events to yourself. Attribution style can be categorized along three primary dimensions: internal versus external, stable versus unstable, and global versus specific. An internal attribution assigns causality to factors within oneself, while an external attribution points to factors outside oneself. A stable attribution implies that the cause is permanent and unchanging, while an unstable attribution suggests that the cause is temporary and variable. A global attribution generalizes the cause to many areas of life, while a specific attribution limits the cause to a particular situation. Attributing failures to stable, global, and external factors significantly increases the risk of developing learned helplessness. For instance, believing I'm just not smart enough and nothing I do will ever change that. Internal, stable, global is far more detrimental than believing I didn't study enough for this particular test. Internal, unstable, specific. Recognizing and altering these ingrained attribution styles is paramount to preventing or revering learned helplessness, thereby reclaiming agency and fostering resilience. The power to change is, therefore, not some abstract concept, but a concrete, actionable strategy. This brings us to a profound philosophical question that has occupied thinkers for centuries: fate versus free will. The ongoing debate between determinism, the belief that all events are predetermined, and free will, the belief that individuals have the power to make autonomous choices, profoundly influences how people respond to perceived bad luck. If one subscribes to a strictly deterministic worldview, setbacks may be viewed as inevitable and unavoidable, leading to a passive acceptance of misfortune. Conversely, if one firmly believes in free will, setbacks may be seen as challenges to overcome through effort and determination. Understanding these fundamental philosophical perspectives is crucial for navigating the complexities of human experience and forging a path toward resilience. The Stoic perspective offers a valuable framework for navigating the challenges of fate. Stoic philosophers, such as Seneca and Marcus Aurelius, emphasize the importance of accepting what is beyond our control, focusing instead on what we can control: our thoughts, actions, and emotions. In his Meditations, Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This acceptance of fate, however, is not a passive resignation to circumstances. Rather, it is an active choice to focus our energy on cultivating inner virtue and responding to adversity with wisdom and equanimity. Stoicism teaches us to distinguish between what is within our power and what is not, freeing us from the emotional turmoil of trying to control the uncontrollable. Contrast this with the existentialist perspective, which emphasizes radical personal responsibility and the freedom to create meaning even in the face of adversity. Existentialist thinkers like Sartre and Camus argued that existence precedes essence, meaning that we are born without a predetermined purpose and are free to define our own values and create our own meaning through our choices. In the myth of Sisyphus, Camus explored the absurdity of human existence, suggesting that we must embrace this absurdity and find joy in the act of rebellion against the meaninglessness of life. From an existentialist perspective, bad luck is simply a condition of existence, an opportunity to exercise our freedom and define ourselves through our response to it. Where do you fall on this spectrum between fatalism and radical responsibility? Do you tend to view setbacks as predetermined events beyond your control, or as opportunities to exercise your agency and create your own meaning? Perhaps the most empowering perspective lies in recognizing that Stoicism and existentialism are not mutually exclusive. There is value in balancing acceptance of fate with the active exercise of personal agency. Accepting what we cannot change allows us to conserve energy and focus our efforts on what we can change, creating a powerful synergy for navigating the unpredictable nature of existence. Indeed, the practical application of Stoic practices might well serve to manage adversity itself, a skill worth developing as you negotiate the vicissitudes of fortune. Now, let's introduce the concept of the shadow, as articulated by the renowned psychologist Carl Jung. The shadow represents the unconscious aspect of the personality, containing repressed or denied qualities, often those deemed undesirable or unacceptable by the ego. These qualities can include negative emotions like anger, resentment, and jealousy, as well as perceived weaknesses, flaws, and vulnerabilities. Rather than acknowledging and integrating these aspects of ourselves, we often attempt to suppress or deny them, pushing them into the unconscious realm, where they continue to exert a powerful influence on our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. One common manifestation of the shadow is projection, a defense mechanism whereby we attribute our own unacceptable qualities or impulses to others. Individuals may project their own inadequacies, fears, or self-blame onto external bad luck, as a way to avoid confronting these disowned aspects of themselves. Consider an individual who consistently blames their failed relationships on their bad luck with partners, claiming they always attract the wrong type of person. While it may be tempting to attribute these failures to external factors, a deeper examination might reveal underlying patterns of behavior, such as a fear of intimacy, a tendency to be overly critical, or an inability to communicate effectively. By projecting their own shortcomings onto their partners, the individual avoids acknowledging their own contribution to the relationship failures, perpetuating a cycle of disappointment. This shadow projection is intimately connected to the attribution biases we discussed earlier, revealing a complex psychological process where individuals unconsciously avoid acknowledging their own contributions to failure. Recognizing and integrating these disowned qualities through a process known as shadow work can significantly reduce the need to project blame externally, fostering greater self-awareness and personal responsibility. It's crucial to emphasize that acknowledging the shadow is not about self-condemnation or wallowing in negativity. Rather, it's about understanding and integrating all aspects of the self, both light and dark, recognizing that wholeness requires embracing the totality of our being. And there are shadow work exercises we can engage in to recognize and integrate those personal shortcomings. This brings us to Nietzsche's profound concept of amor fati, which translates to love of fate. Amor fati is not a passive resignation to circumstances, but a radical acceptance and even love of everything that has happened in one's life, including suffering, setbacks, and perceived bad luck. It is a proactive embrace of one's entire life experience as a source of growth, meaning, and self-discovery. Nietzsche believed that true greatness lies not in avoiding suffering, but in transforming it into something meaningful. Amor fati provides a powerful antidote to the failure effect. By accepting and even loving their past, individuals can break free from the cycle of blame and learned helplessness, transforming their perceived misfortunes into opportunities for growth and self-transformation. Amor fati reframes bad luck, not as a curse, but as a catalyst for resilience, wisdom, and the development of inner strength. Consider the example of Beethoven, who faced profound adversity in the form of progressive hearing loss. Rather than succumbing to despair, Beethoven channeled his suffering into his music, creating some of the most powerful and moving compositions in history. His deafness, rather than limiting his artistic expression, became a catalyst for innovation and a testament to the human spirit's capacity to triumph over adversity. Amor fati can be seen as the ultimate form of internal locus of control, shifting the focus from external circumstances to one's internal response. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and author of Man's Search for Meaning, exemplified this principle. Despite enduring unimaginable suffering in concentration camps, Frankl discovered that even in the most horrific circumstances, individuals retain the freedom to choose their attitude and their response. This inner freedom, this ability to find meaning in suffering, became the cornerstone of his psychological approach, logotherapy. Similarly, Nelson Mandela, who spent 27 years in prison for his activism against apartheid, emerged from his confinement with a message of forgiveness and reconciliation, transforming his personal suffering into a catalyst for positive social change. These figures serve as powerful examples of how embracing amor fati can lead to profound personal growth and the creation of lasting meaning. Amor fati also closely relates to Jungian individuation. Embracing one's entire being, including the shadow, leads to wholeness. So, how do we transition from these profound philosophical concepts to concrete, actionable steps for overcoming the failure effect in our own lives? It begins with recognizing our attribution biases, challenging learned helplessness, integrating the shadow, and embracing amor fati. This is not a one-time fix or a simple solution, but rather an ongoing process of self-awareness, reflection, and intentional action. The insights we've gleaned from attribution theory, learned helplessness, Stoicism, existentialism, Jungian psychology, and Nietzsche's philosophy provide a solid foundation for taking concrete steps toward reclaiming agency and creating a more fulfilling life. As we continue, remember, inner work must inform outer action, and vice versa. By understanding and integrating all aspects of ourselves, we can move toward that path of wholeness that Jung described. So, where do we begin this journey of reclaiming agency? The first step involves pinpointing those often subtle attribution biases that color our perceptions of success and failure. To do this effectively, it requires a conscious effort to disrupt ingrained patterns of thought and challenge the stories we tell ourselves about why things happen the way they do. One highly effective method is to maintain a failure log, a dedicated record of setbacks, disappointments, and perceived instances of bad luck. This log isn't meant to be a chronicle of woe, but rather a tool for objective analysis. Each entry should detail the event, your initial reaction, and most importantly, the attributions you made at the time. Did you immediately blame external circumstances, or did you consider your own role in the outcome? By meticulously documenting these instances, you begin to unearth recurring patterns in your explanatory style. This process transforms subjective experience into objective data, offering a clearer picture of your habitual attributional tendencies. Once you've compiled a few entries in your failure log, the next step involves applying cognitive restructuring techniques to challenge negative or distorted attributions. This involves questioning the validity of your initial explanations and exploring alternative perspectives. For each entry, ask yourself, what evidence actually supports my attribution? Are there other plausible explanations for what happened? Am I overlooking my own contributions or misinterpreting the actions of others? For instance, if you attribute a project rejection solely to the client's unreasonable demands, consider whether your proposal was truly aligned with their needs, whether your communication was clear and effective, or whether there were aspects of your work that could have been improved. By systematically questioning your assumptions and seeking alternative explanations, you begin to dismantle the self-serving biases that perpetuate the failure effect. This active interrogation of your beliefs is the cornerstone of cognitive restructuring, a powerful tool for transforming negative thought patterns into more constructive and realistic ones. Consistent use of the failure log and cognitive restructuring techniques can reveal striking patterns of self-blame or externalization. You might discover a tendency to consistently minimize your accomplishments while exaggerating your failures, or a propensity to attribute negative outcomes to uncontrollable external factors while downplaying your own agency. Be especially vigilant for instances where you might be protecting your ego by deflecting blame or taking undue credit. Are you, perhaps unconsciously, shielding yourself from feelings of inadequacy or incompetence by attributing failures to bad luck or the incompetence of others? Recognizing these self-serving biases is crucial for fostering genuine self-awareness and taking responsibility for your actions. If you consistently find yourself falling into the same attributional traps, it's time to delve deeper into the underlying beliefs and fears that drive these patterns. Moreover, this process provides a bridge to actively challenging learned helplessness, as the failure log becomes a mechanism for spotting patterns of passivity and inaction, paving the way for more proactive responses to adversity. Having identified patterns of detrimental attribution, and perhaps tendencies toward learned helplessness, the next crucial step is to implement specific techniques for actively reversing this cycle of perceived powerlessness. One highly effective approach is behavioral activation, a deceptively simple yet profoundly impactful strategy that involves scheduling small, achievable tasks to build a sense of mastery and control. This is especially important for individuals who have become accustomed to passivity and inaction. The key is to start small, setting realistic goals that are virtually guaranteed to be successful. This might involve something as simple as making your bed, going for a short walk, or spending 15 minutes reading a book. The point is not the magnitude of the accomplishment, but the act of taking deliberate action and experiencing the positive reinforcement of achieving a goal. Each small win contributes to a growing sense of self-efficacy, chipping away at the foundation of learned helplessness. The power of behavioral activation lies in its ability to create a positive feedback loop, where initial successes motivate further action, leading to even greater feelings of control and accomplishment. When faced with more overwhelming goals, such as finding a new job or completing a complex project, it is essential to break them down into smaller, more manageable steps. Instead of being paralyzed by the enormity of the task, focus on completing one small step at a time. For someone struggling with job searching, this might involve updating their resume, researching 3 companies, and reaching out to one contact in their network. By focusing on these concrete, actionable steps, the overall goal becomes less daunting, and the individual experiences a sense of progress and momentum. This systematic approach not only increases the likelihood of success, but also cultivates a sense of agency and control, directly combating the feelings of helplessness that can be so debilitating. As you begin to experience these small wins, it's essential to celebrate your progress and focus on what you've accomplished, rather than dwelling on what you haven't. This might seem counterintuitive, especially for those who are prone to self-criticism, but it is a crucial component of revering learned helplessness. However, beware of the trap of setting unrealistic expectations or becoming overly self-critical when setbacks inevitably occur. This can inadvertently reinforce learned helplessness by perpetuating feelings of inadequacy and failure. If you find yourself falling into this pattern, remind yourself that setbacks are a normal part of the process and that they do not negate the progress you've already made. The key is to reframe setbacks as temporary and specific, rather than global and stable. Instead of thinking, "I'm a failure," try thinking, "I encountered a challenge, but I can learn from it and do better next time." Ultimately, the interplay between behavioral activation and cognitive restructuring is essential to revering learned helplessness. Taking action helps to change your thoughts, and changing your thoughts helps you to take more effective action. By actively challenging learned helplessness, you build resilience and a sense of personal agency, revering the failure effect. Remember, learned helplessness is not a fixed state, but a pattern of thought and behavior that can be unlearned through conscious effort and consistent practice. As you begin to reclaim your sense of control, you'll discover a newfound capacity to navigate challenges and create a more fulfilling life. This renewed sense of personal agency is not just a psychological boost. It's a fundamental shift in how you perceive your relationship with the world. Beyond addressing attribution biases and learned helplessness, integrating the shadow self is a crucial step in reclaiming agency and breaking free from the cycle of blame. As we discussed, the shadow represents the disowned aspects of our personality, often projected onto others or external circumstances. But how do we begin to identify and integrate these hidden parts of ourselves? Practical shadow work exercises offer a powerful means of accessing and understanding these unconscious aspects of our being. Journaling prompts focused on identifying qualities you dislike or judge in others can be an illuminating starting point. What traits consistently irritate you? What behaviors do you find particularly offensive? Often, these qualities reflect disowned aspects of your own personality. For example, someone who is constantly irritated by others' arrogance might be repressing their own ambition or need for recognition. Perhaps they were taught that boasting or self-promotion was unacceptable, leading them to suppress their own desire for achievement. By acknowledging this disowned quality, they can begin to explore its origins and integrate it into their conscious awareness. Similarly, someone who is quick to judge others for their laziness might be repressing their own need for rest and relaxation, pushing themselves to constantly be productive and feeling guilty when they take time for themselves. These disowned qualities often stem from childhood experiences, societal conditioning, or past traumas. Exploring these origins can provide valuable insights into why these aspects of ourselves were deemed unacceptable and how they continue to influence our behavior. Remember, shadow integration is not about condoning negative behavior or becoming someone you're not. It's about understanding the why of your judgments. As you explore these disowned qualities, you'll likely notice patterns in how you project them onto others or external circumstances, manifesting as blaming, resentment, or victimization. It's important to approach this process with self-compassion. Confronting the shadow can be painful and requires a gentle approach. Recognize that these disowned qualities are part of being human and that everyone has a shadow side. As Jung himself said, everyone carries a shadow, and the less it is embodied in the individual's conscious life, the blacker and denser it is. Shadow integration isn't about becoming perfect, but about accepting and integrating all aspects of yourself, both light and dark. This doesn't mean indulging in negative behaviors, but rather understanding their origins and integrating them into your conscious awareness. By owning your flaws and taking responsibility for your actions, you can break free from cycles of blame and reclaim agency over your life. Shadow integration ultimately leads to greater self-acceptance, wholeness, and authenticity, allowing you to show up in the world with greater vulnerability and compassion. This process of understanding your disowned qualities, then, allows you to be more whole. It allows you to be more connected to your emotions and better able to regulate them. With increased self-understanding, it is time to embrace practical strategies for practicing amor fati in daily life, allowing you to use even difficult experiences as fuel. One simple yet powerful technique is gratitude journaling. By intentionally focusing on the positive aspects of even challenging experiences, you can shift your perspective and cultivate a sense of appreciation for what you have, rather than dwelling on what you lack. Even in the midst of suffering, there are often small things to be grateful for: a supportive friend, a moment of beauty, or a lesson learned. Regularly acknowledging these positive aspects can help to counterbalance negative emotions and foster a sense of resilience. This is not to suggest that you ignore your negative experiences, but rather that you balance them with an active recognition of the good. Reframing setbacks as opportunities for growth can further foster acceptance and resilience. Instead of viewing a job loss as a personal failure, consider it a chance to explore new career paths, develop new skills, or pursue a long-held passion. Instead of dwelling on the disappointment of a failed relationship, focus on the lessons you learned about yourself and what you want in a partner. This proactive reframing of negative experiences transforms them from obstacles into stepping stones, fostering a sense of agency and purpose. By embracing this perspective, you can turn even the most difficult challenges into opportunities for self-discovery and personal growth. As Nietzsche said, "That which does not kill us makes us stronger." However, remember that amor fati is not about denying negative emotions, but about accepting them as part of the human experience. It's okay to feel sadness, anger, or disappointment when faced with adversity. The key is to avoid getting stuck in these emotions and to use them as fuel for growth and self-transformation. It is also important to note that embracing amor fati during times of intense suffering can be exceptionally challenging. It's not about pretending that everything is okay or suppressing your emotions, but rather about finding meaning and purpose, even in the midst of despair. Viktor Frankl, for example, found meaning in his suffering by helping others in the concentration camps and by envisioning himself lecturing about his experiences after the war. Consider how your greatest challenges have shaped you into who you are today. What lessons have you learned from your past struggles? How have these experiences made you stronger, more resilient, or more compassionate? Amor fati truly is the ultimate tool for resilience, shifting your focus from external circumstances to your internal response, thereby putting you back in the driver's seat of your own life. Reinforcing this point is the shining example of Viktor Frankl and the power of finding meaning even in the face of terrible adversity. As we prepare for the conclusion, it's worth hinting that true freedom lies in accepting both the good and the bad, and using it all as fuel for the journey. By understanding and embracing amor fati, you can transform your relationship with fate, viewing it not as a force to be feared, but as a partner in your self-creation. Now, let's turn our attention to the power of reframing, a cognitive technique that allows us to alter our perception of bad luck and failures. Reframing isn't about denying the reality of a difficult situation, but rather about changing how we interpret it. It's about viewing a situation through a different lens, seeking alternative perspectives that can empower us rather than leaving us feeling defeated. Consider, for example, a failed business venture. The immediate reaction might be to wallow in disappointment, blaming the market, the economy, or perhaps even a lack of resources. However, reframing invites us to ask different questions. What valuable lessons did I learn from this experience? What new skills did I develop? What connections did I make that might benefit me in the future? By shifting the focus from what was lost to what was gained, we can transform a perceived failure into a valuable learning opportunity. Understanding the distinction between adaptive and maladaptive reframing is crucial. Adaptive reframing acknowledges the reality of the situation, accepting that things didn't go as planned, while actively seeking potential benefits or lessons learned. It's about finding the silver lining without minimizing the real challenges. On the other hand, maladaptive reframing often involves denial or minimization of the negative aspects, hindering growth and preventing us from taking necessary corrective actions. For example, imagine a student who blames a poor exam grade on a bad test, rather than acknowledging their lack of preparation. This maladaptive reframing prevents them from identifying and addressing their study habits, perpetuating a cycle of poor performance. Adaptive reframing, in contrast, would involve acknowledging the poor grade, identifying areas where they struggled, and developing a plan to improve their study habits for the next exam. Connecting reframing to attribution styles reveals how actively shifting from external to internal, unstable, and specific attributions can lead to more empowering interpretations of events. Instead of attributing a failure to a fixed, external cause like bad luck, we can reframe it as a result of specific actions or choices we made, which are within our control to change in the future. This connects directly back to our earlier discussion of attribution styles and learned helplessness, and serves as a powerful intervention. What if we dared to perceive every setback as a unique curriculum designed specifically to teach us lessons we wouldn't otherwise learn? By reframing failures as temporary, controllable, and specific, we reclaim agency over our lives, transforming setbacks into opportunities for growth and self-improvement. Drawing upon the wisdom of Stoicism and the acceptance of fate, reframing allows us to find a sense of agency even within uncontrollable circumstances. While we cannot always control what happens to us, we can always control how we respond. Reframing becomes a tool for navigating the inevitable challenges of life with resilience and grace, allowing us to extract meaning and purpose from even the most difficult experiences. This is the essence of Stoic philosophy, accepting what we cannot change and focusing our energy on what we can. By consciously reframing our experiences, we align ourselves with this ancient wisdom, cultivating a sense of inner peace and strength that transcends external circumstances. Building upon the skill of reframing, we can further fortify our resilience by cultivating mindfulness and detachment from outcomes. Mindfulness practices provide a powerful method for detaching from the emotional reactivity that often accompanies failure. Techniques such as focused breathing or body scan meditations allow us to observe our thoughts and feelings without judgment, creating a space between ourselves and our reactions to setbacks. Consider the feeling of anger or frustration that arises when a project falls apart. Instead of immediately reacting with blame or despair, mindfulness allows us to simply observe these emotions, acknowledging their presence without getting carried away by them. By cultivating this non-judgmental awareness, we begin to loosen the grip that negative emotions have on us. We learn to recognize that our thoughts and feelings are not necessarily reflections of reality, but rather transient mental events that come and go. Mindfulness helps us to see that we are not defined by our failures, but rather by our capacity to learn and grow from them. It allows us to approach setbacks with greater clarity and equanimity, making wiser choices and avoiding impulsive reactions. This ability to observe without judgment is a cornerstone of emotional regulation, allowing us to navigate the inevitable ups and downs of life with greater ease and resilience. Connecting mindfulness to the concept of amor fati reveals how observing the impermanent nature of both positive and negative experiences can cultivate a deeper sense of acceptance. Just as joy is fleeting, so too is sorrow. By recognizing the impermanence of all things, we can learn to embrace the full spectrum of human experience, including the inevitable setbacks and disappointments. To actively practice this, try meditating on a past experience that was negative. Allow yourself to fully experience the emotions that arise without judgment or resistance. Observe how these emotions shift and change over time, recognizing that they are not permanent. With practice, you will find that the intensity of these emotions diminishes, replaced by a sense of acceptance and peace. Detachment from outcomes, cultivated through mindfulness, leads to greater resilience and a willingness to take risks. When we are less attached to specific results, we become less fearful of failure, more open to new possibilities, and more willing to embrace challenges that might otherwise seem daunting. However, mindfulness isn't about suppressing emotions, but about changing our relationship with them. It's about learning to observe our thoughts and feelings with curiosity and compassion, rather than judgment and resistance. Embracing our emotions in a healthy way allows us to move past them and see new ways to proceed forward. Practicing mindfulness during times of intense stress can be particularly challenging. When faced with a major setback, it's natural to feel overwhelmed and reactive. The key is to start small, practicing mindfulness during moments of relative calm, gradually building your capacity to observe your thoughts and feelings without judgment. Even a few minutes of focused breathing each day can make a significant difference in your ability to manage stress and cultivate emotional resilience. If you are finding it difficult to maintain mindfulness during a particularly challenging time, seek support from a therapist or mindfulness teacher. These resources can provide guidance and support as you navigate difficult emotions and cultivate greater self-awareness. Beyond mindfulness, cultivating an honest sense of vulnerability is a source of strength when confronting failure, not a weakness. Drawing upon the work of Brené Brown, we understand that vulnerability involves embracing uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure. It's about showing up authentically, even when we're afraid of being judged or rejected. In the context of failure, vulnerability means acknowledging our mistakes, seeking feedback, and learning from our experiences, fostering growth and resilience. For example, sharing a failed project with colleagues and asking for constructive criticism requires vulnerability, but it also creates an opportunity for learning and improvement. Embracing vulnerability allows us to connect with others on a deeper level, fostering a sense of belonging and support. When we are willing to show our true selves, imperfections and all, we create space for others to do the same. This mutual vulnerability creates a powerful bond, fostering a sense of community that can buffer against the negative effects of failure. This also connects to shadow integration, as by accepting their imperfections, individuals can reduce their need to project blame externally. The less we run from the parts of ourselves we deem unacceptable, the more whole and resilient we become. When some people see vulnerability, they are quick to write them off. But those people might be missing the essence of the human condition and the power of true connection. It takes immense courage to show up authentically, especially when facing the sting of failure. By shifting our focus from avoiding failure to maximizing learning, we can transform setbacks into opportunities for growth and self-discovery. Further, vulnerability is an essential ingredient for amor fati, allowing us to embrace our entire life experience, including the messy parts. It means accepting that we are not perfect, that we will make mistakes, and that these experiences are integral to our personal evolution. Vulnerability fosters deeper connections with others, creating a supportive network that can buffer against the negative effects of failure. When we are willing to share our struggles and ask for help, we are more likely to receive the support and encouragement we need to persevere. History is replete with leaders who admitted their vulnerability, which paradoxically strengthened their followers' trust and confidence. By embracing vulnerability, we not only cultivate resilience, but also create a more compassionate and connected world. It requires bravery, but the returns are immeasurable. Finally, let's explore how building a growth mindset can transform your relationship with failure. Drawing upon the work of Carol Dweck, a growth mindset is the belief that intelligence and abilities are not fixed traits, but rather malleable qualities that can be developed through effort and dedication. This contrasts with a fixed mindset, which assumes that our abilities are predetermined and unchangeable. With a growth mindset, challenges are seen as opportunities for learning and development, not as threats to our self-esteem. Consider someone who failed an exam. With a fixed mindset, they might see this as evidence of their lack of intelligence, leading to feelings of shame and discouragement. With a growth mindset, they would view the failure as a chance to improve their study habits, seek help from others, and ultimately master the material. The growth mindset connects all our previous concepts: reframing, mindfulness, vulnerability, shadow integration, and amor fati. In many ways, it can be seen as the umbrella mindset. By embracing a growth mindset, we proactively shape our response to adversity, transforming setbacks into opportunities for learning, growth, and self-discovery. Everything that we have discussed so far is interconnected. Now, it is time to ask yourself if you have a growth mindset. Maintaining a growth mindset in the face of repeated setbacks can be challenging. The key is to focus on the process rather than the outcome. Celebrate your effort, your persistence, and your willingness to learn, even when you don't achieve your desired results. Seek out mentors or role models who embody a growth mindset, learning from their experiences and drawing inspiration from their resilience. Also, remember that having a growth mindset is a journey, not a destination. There will be times when you feel discouraged or doubt your abilities. The key is to acknowledge these feelings, remind yourself of your potential for growth, and keep moving forward, one step at a time. Building upon the foundation of a growth mindset, we can further cultivate resilience by practicing self-compassion, a vital component often overlooked in the pursuit of success. Self-compassion offers a powerful antidote to the self-criticism that can amplify the negative effects of failure, allowing us to approach setbacks with kindness and understanding rather than judgment and blame. Pioneering researcher Kristin Neff's work highlights self-compassion as a crucial element of psychological well-being. Are you treating yourself with the same understanding you would offer a friend? Self-compassion comprises three key elements: self-kindness, a recognition of common humanity, and mindfulness. Self-kindness involves treating oneself with warmth and understanding, especially when facing challenges or perceived inadequacies. Common humanity acknowledges that suffering and imperfection are inherent parts of the human experience, reminding us that we are not alone in our struggles. Mindfulness entails observing our thoughts and emotions with non-judgmental awareness, allowing us to approach our experiences with greater clarity and acceptance. To illustrate this, imagine you've just made a significant mistake at work. Instead of berating yourself with harsh self-criticism, "I'm so stupid. How could I do that?" Practice self-kindness by acknowledging your distress. "This is really tough, and I'm feeling upset right now." Recognize common humanity by reminding yourself that everyone makes mistakes and that setbacks are a normal part of life. "It's okay. I'm not the only one who has messed up at work." Finally, cultivate mindfulness by observing your emotions without judgment. "I'm feeling frustrated and disappointed, but I'm not going to let these feelings define me." By responding with self-compassion, you create a space for healing and growth. Self-compassion offers a powerful pathway towards shadow integration, allowing us to embrace our imperfections and reduce self-blame. When analyzing our shadow aspects, self-compassion allows us to acknowledge our shortcomings without being consumed by shame or self-loathing. It provides the safety and acceptance necessary to explore our hidden depths and integrate these disowned aspects into our conscious awareness. This, in turn, fosters a more complete and authentic sense of self, enhancing our resilience and capacity for self-acceptance. It's important to remember that self-compassion isn't about excusing our bad behavior, but about acknowledging our imperfections with kindness and using them as opportunities for growth. By treating ourselves with the same kindness and understanding we would offer a friend in a similar situation, we cultivate a more balanced and realistic perspective on failure. Think about how you would respond to a close friend who is struggling with a setback. Would you offer harsh criticism and judgment, or would you offer support, encouragement, and understanding? Now ask yourself, why not extend that same level of compassion to yourself? This shift in perspective can be transformative, allowing us to approach setbacks with greater resilience and self-acceptance. A critical aspect is to differentiate self-compassion from self-pity or self-indulgence. Self-compassion isn't about wallowing in our suffering or making excuses for our mistakes. Rather, it's about acknowledging our pain with kindness and using it as a catalyst for growth and change. With self-compassion as our foundation, we're better prepared to build a strong and supportive network, which will be crucial in buffering against the inevitable challenges of life. We are not meant to navigate this journey alone. Our next step involves understanding the critical role of social support. Building on the bedrock of self-compassion, the importance of cultivating a supportive network as a vital buffer against the negative effects of failure and perceived bad luck must be considered. Research consistently demonstrates a strong link between social support and resilience, showing that individuals with strong social connections are better equipped to cope with stress and adversity. Do you have a support system in place to help you navigate life's challenges? Social support can take many forms, including emotional support, expressions of empathy, caring, and concern, informational support, advice, guidance, and resources, and instrumental support, tangible assistance, such as help with tasks or financial assistance. These different types of support can play distinct roles in helping individuals cope with setbacks. For example, imagine facing a job loss. Emotional support from friends and family can provide a sense of comfort and validation, helping you process your emotions and maintain a positive outlook. Informational support from a career counselor can provide guidance on job search strategies and resume writing. Instrumental support from a former colleague might provide leads on potential job openings. Connecting social support to vulnerability reveals how sharing our struggles with trusted others can foster deeper connections and reduce feelings of isolation. By reaching out and asking for help, we not only receive the support we need, but we also create an opportunity for others to connect with us on a more meaningful level. Bear in mind our earlier exploration of embracing vulnerability. When we allow ourselves to be seen, imperfections and all, we invite others to do the same, fostering a sense of belonging and mutual support. This also strengthens existing relationships and creates space for new, supportive connections to form. Seeking help should be seen as a sign of strength, not weakness. It takes courage to admit that we are struggling and to reach out for support. But by doing so, we demonstrate self-awareness, resilience, and a willingness to learn and grow. Conversely, isolating oneself in times of struggle often amplifies negative emotions and prevents us from accessing the resources and support we need to overcome challenges. Isolation can worsen the failure effect, leading to a downward spiral of diminished agency and increased feelings of helplessness. It's important to cultivate reciprocal relationships where we both give and receive support. Healthy relationships are characterized by a balance of give and take, where both parties feel valued and supported. By offering our support to others, we strengthen our relationships and create a sense of mutual connection. This also creates a reservoir of goodwill that we can draw upon when we need support ourselves. Consider your current support networks. Are they truly supportive? Do you give as much as you receive? If not, it might be time to reevaluate those relationships and cultivate healthier connections. As we move forward, we'll re-examine what success truly means and embrace the imperfections that make us human. A strong support network helps us challenge our limiting beliefs and redefine success on our own terms. But without a strong support network, the failure effect is amplified so that these beliefs are never challenged. The stakes are high. Challenging traditional, narrow definitions of success and embracing imperfection as an inherent part of the human experience are critical steps toward overcoming the failure effect. Society often promotes a limited view of success, focused on external achievements such as wealth, status, and recognition. This can lead to a relentless pursuit of perfection, fostering a fear of failure and preventing individuals from taking risks or pursuing their goals. What if success was measured not by external validation, but by internal growth, meaning, and contribution? Perfectionism, often rooted in a fear of the shadow self, can be a significant barrier to embracing imperfection. Perfectionists often hold themselves to unrealistic standards, striving for flawless performance in all areas of their lives. This can lead to chronic stress, anxiety, and a fear of taking risks, as any perceived imperfection is seen as a sign of inadequacy. To illustrate this, imagine someone who avoids pursuing a passion because they fear they won't be good enough. This fear of failure prevents them from experiencing the joy and fulfillment that comes from pursuing their interests and developing their talents. Connecting embracing imperfection to shadow integration highlights how accepting our flaws can reduce self-judgment and cultivate self-acceptance. Perfectionism is often a reaction to the fear of the shadow, an attempt to control and suppress the aspects of ourselves that we deem unacceptable. By acknowledging and integrating these shadow qualities, we can reduce our need to strive for perfection and cultivate a more compassionate and accepting relationship with ourselves. For many, this might mean shifting values from money and career success to personal and family wellness. Redefining success on our own terms involves focusing on personal growth, meaning, and contribution, rather than external validation. This may involve prioritizing experiences over material possessions, cultivating meaningful relationships, or pursuing work that aligns with our values and passions. To do this, embrace the journey, not just the destination, and celebrate progress, not just outcomes. Learn from your mistakes rather than dwelling on them, recognizing that setbacks are inevitable and that growth often emerges from adversity. It's also vital to remember that embracing imperfection isn't about lowering our standards or settling for mediocrity. It's about cultivating self-acceptance and recognizing that our worth is not contingent on achieving perfection. Instead, it involves celebrating progress, learning from mistakes, and finding joy in the journey of self-discovery. Where will you place your priorities, and what will your values become? As we continue on this path, it's essential to embrace the long game, recognizing that overcoming the failure effect is an ongoing process that requires persistence, adaptability, and a long-term perspective. This journey, like life itself, is not a sprint, but a marathon, reinforcing the idea that overcoming the failure effect is an ongoing journey, not a one-time fix, is paramount. This requires persistent effort, continuous adaptation, and a commitment to maintaining a long-term perspective. The path to resilience is rarely linear. It's filled with twists, turns, and unexpected detours. As we navigate this terrain, maintaining a long-term vision becomes essential for staying motivated and focused. Consider the story of an entrepreneur who faced numerous setbacks in the early stages of their business. Despite facing financial difficulties, product failures, and market challenges, they persevered, adapting their strategies and learning from their mistakes. Ultimately, their persistence paid off, and they achieved remarkable success. Understanding the significance of setting realistic expectations, celebrating small wins, and learning from setbacks along the way is crucial for sustained progress. The allure of instant gratification often leads to unrealistic expectations, setting the stage for disappointment and discouragement. Packing oneself during times of struggle is the sign of someone who has longevity. Connecting persistence and adaptability to amor fati reveals how embracing the inevitable challenges of life can cultivate resilience and meaning. Amor fati, as we discussed, involves accepting and loving our fate, including the difficult and painful experiences that shape our lives. Embracing this mindset allows us to view setbacks not as obstacles to be avoided, but as opportunities for growth and self-discovery. The ability to accept, adapt, and persist are tightly bound. Viewing setbacks as temporary detours rather than permanent roadblocks requires a conscious shift in perspective. Remember, setbacks are an inevitable part of any worthwhile endeavor. Instead of allowing them to derail your progress, view them as temporary detours that provide valuable learning opportunities. Acknowledge your emotions, learn from your mistakes, and adjust your strategies as needed. Ask yourself how this setback might be redirecting you toward a more fulfilling path. With that shifted perspective, remember consistency is key. Many of those much celebrated overnight successes are often the result of years or even decades of hard work, dedication, and perseverance. Maintaining a consistent effort, even when faced with setbacks, is essential for achieving long-term goals. Further, it cannot be stressed enough that all of the advice in this video only works with a long-term commitment. The journey to resilience is paved with persistent action, adaptive strategies, and an unwavering belief in one's potential for growth. So, are you willing to commit to the long game? Cultivating the right mindset for success extends beyond merely adopting a growth-oriented perspective. It necessitates actively nurturing a mindset that harmonizes with one's deepest aspirations and guiding principles. It is not enough to simply have a growth mindset, but to mold your way of thinking in such a manner that it directly aids your goals and values. What if success were redefined, not solely by quantifiable achievements, but by the profound and enduring impact you leave on the world? Consider the concept of a purpose-driven mindset, where success is measured not just by external accolades, but by the tangible and meaningful contribution one makes to society. This involves aligning your actions with a clear sense of purpose, directing your efforts toward endeavors that resonate deeply with your values and passions. Contrast this with the pursuit of success for its own sake, driven by ego or external validation, which can often lead to a hollow and unfulfilling existence. Further, understand that mindset is far more complex than positive thinking. Differentiating between mindset and mere positive thinking is crucial. While positive affirmations and optimistic self-talk can be helpful tools, a genuinely effective mindset is anchored in realism, self-awareness, and a steadfast commitment to action. It's about embracing a balanced perspective, acknowledging both your strengths and limitations, and approaching challenges with a clear-eyed understanding of the obstacles involved. For example, a person embarking on an entrepreneurial venture should certainly cultivate a growth mindset, believing in their ability to learn and adapt. However, this optimistic outlook must be tempered with a realistic assessment of market conditions, financial projections, and the potential for setbacks. Connecting the cultivation of the right mindset to shadow integration underscores the transformative power of self-acceptance. By acknowledging and embracing your flaws, weaknesses, and limitations, you can develop a more compassionate and realistic view of yourself and your potential. This involves confronting the darker aspects of your personality, the fears and insecurities that often drive self-sabotaging behaviors. Facing these fears can bring an unusual sense of peace to your mental state. Challenge yourself to identify your core values and align your mindset accordingly. What truly matters to you in life? What principles guide your decisions and actions? Once you have a clear understanding of your values, you can begin to cultivate a mindset that supports and reinforces them. This involves consciously aligning your thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors with your values, creating a sense of congruence and purpose that fuels your motivation and resilience. Remind yourself that the right mindset is not simply positive thinking, but realistic thinking. Without the right mindset, you cannot even make the correct goals for yourself. Building on the foundation of a purpose-driven mindset, setting realistic goals and managing expectations become essential for sustained progress and avoiding discouragement. After all, what good is a proper mental attitude if you are aiming at an improper target? Introducing the importance of setting SMART goals, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound, provides a structured framework for managing expectations and preventing the insidious creep of discouragement. Without structure, the failure effect will once again gain traction. This approach involves breaking down large, overwhelming goals into smaller, more manageable steps, making it easier to track progress and maintain motivation. Instead of that vague aspiration, "I want to be successful," a SMART goal would be, "I will increase my sales by 10% in the next quarter by contacting 5 new clients per week." The latter provides a clear roadmap for action, outlining specific steps that can be taken to achieve the desired outcome. Explain the crucial distinction between process goals and outcome goals, underscoring how focusing on the process can foster greater satisfaction and persistence, even when outcomes are uncertain. Outcome goals are focused on achieving a specific result, such as winning a competition or earning a certain amount of money. Process goals, on the other hand, are focused on the actions and behaviors required to achieve that result, such as practicing a skill for a certain amount of time each day or adhering to a specific diet plan. For example, a writer might set a process goal of writing for 1 hour each day, regardless of whether they produce publishable material, or an athlete sets a process goal to practice proper form for 2 hours a day. By emphasizing what can be controlled, realistic goal setting links directly to attribution styles, significantly reducing the likelihood of attributing failures to the nebulous concept of bad luck. When goals are structured around controllable factors, such as effort, strategy, and preparation, individuals are more likely to view setbacks as opportunities for learning and improvement, rather than evidence of inherent inadequacy. This, in turn, fosters a sense of agency and empowers individuals to take proactive steps to overcome challenges. Challenge yourself to reframe setbacks as invaluable opportunities for learning and adjustment, rather than irrefutable evidence of inadequacy. Every stumble, every misstep, Every apparent failure offers a chance to gather data, refine strategies, and emerge stronger and wiser. Thomas Edison famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Similarly, embrace a mindset of continuous experimentation and learning, viewing setbacks as stepping stones on the path to success. And further building on a growth mindset, remember that mindset will allow you to adjust your goals in the face of challenges and discover new paths to success. Setting the stage for the power of visualization requires seeing oneself achieving realistic goals can significantly boost motivation and confidence. Reinforce that goal setting and expectation managing hinges on a foundation of realism. With realistic goals and expectations firmly in place, visualization and mental rehearsal act as potent tools for enhancing performance, building confidence, and cultivating a profound sense of agency. These techniques allow us to mentally simulate success, strengthening our belief in our ability to achieve our goals. Introducing visualization as a technique involves creating vivid mental images of oneself successfully performing a task or achieving a goal. This can involve imagining the sights, sounds, smells, and feelings associated with success, immersing oneself in the experience as fully as possible. Elite athletes, for instance, routinely use visualization to mentally rehearse their performances, imagining themselves executing flawless routines or winning races. But beyond athletics, visualization can be applied to almost any area of life, from public speaking to business negotiations to creative endeavors. Explaining the science behind visualization reveals how mental rehearsal activates similar brain regions as actual performance, strengthening neural pathways and enhancing skills. Neuroimaging studies have demonstrated that visualizing an action can stimulate the same neural networks involved in physically performing that action, leading to improved motor skills, enhanced cognitive function, and increased confidence. For instance, a public speaker might visualize themselves delivering a confident and engaging presentation, rehearsing their gestures, tone of voice, and body language in their mind's eye. Visualization connects directly to reframing by vividly imagining positive outcomes. Individuals can alter their perception of risk and amplify their willingness to take decisive action. When coupled, these methods for changing perception will almost certainly impact the outcome. This process involves consciously challenging negative thought patterns and replacing them with more empowering beliefs. By vividly imagining success, you create a mental blueprint for achieving your goals, making them seem more attainable and less daunting. Challenge yourself to visualize not just success, but also the process of overcoming obstacles and challenges, preparing yourself mentally and emotionally for the inevitable bumps in the road. This involves anticipating potential setbacks, developing strategies for coping with them, and mentally rehearsing how you will respond in challenging situations. Consider what this looks like from a practical point of view. What is the opposite of this visualization? You must see yourself succeeding to succeed. This sets the stage for taking calculated risks by cultivating a belief in one's ability to handle uncertainty and adapt to changing circumstances. Distinguish between positive visualization and unrealistic fantasies, stressing the need for grounding visualizations in reality and action. Without visualization and mental rehearsal, people will lack the confidence to take calculated risks. Building upon the power of visualization, taking calculated risks and embracing uncertainty become essential for unlocking growth, fostering innovation, and achieving meaningful progress. However, remember that taking risks does not mean throwing caution to the wind, but rather, it involves assessing potential benefits and downsides and proceeding with a well-informed plan. Challenging the notion that playing it safe is always the best strategy is a crucial step toward embracing calculated risk-taking. While avoiding risks may provide a sense of security in the short term, it can also limit opportunities for growth, innovation, and personal fulfillment. Playing it safe rarely allows for new avenues to be explored. Calculated risks, on the other hand, involve stepping outside of one's comfort zone and embracing the unknown, with a clear understanding of the potential rewards and consequences. An employee taking on a challenging project outside of their comfort zone to develop new skills is the perfect example of this. Explaining the difference between reckless and calculated risks involves highlighting the importance of careful assessment, preparation, and a willingness to learn from both successes and failures. Reckless risks are often impulsive and ill-considered, taken without proper planning or evaluation of potential consequences. Calculated risks, on the other hand, involve a more deliberate and strategic approach, weighing potential benefits against potential downsides and developing contingency plans for mitigating potential risks. Further, one must recognize that calculated risks involve careful assessment of potential benefits and downsides, preparation, and a willingness to learn from both successes and failures. Calculated risk-taking links directly to amor fati. By embracing uncertainty and accepting the possibility of failure, individuals can cultivate resilience and discover deeper meaning in the journey. When recognizing that every outcome can be embraced in personal growth, amor fati becomes a powerful tool for navigating the uncertainties of life. Embracing this mindset allows you to view setbacks not as catastrophes to be avoided, but as valuable learning experiences that contribute to your overall growth and development. Encourage yourself to view failures as valuable learning experiences rather than evidence of inadequacy. As it has been stated previously, understand that this is all an overall mindset. This sets the stage for finding meaning in one's work by illustrating that even calculated risks can lead to unexpected opportunities and a greater sense of purpose, but reinforce the need to approach the risk as calculated and not reckless. Finding meaning and purpose in the process shifts the focus from external validation and outcomes to the intrinsic rewards of pursuing meaningful work, which in turn bolsters resilience. When work becomes a mere means to an end, it can lead to a sense of emptiness and dissatisfaction. However, when work is aligned with one's values and passions, it can become a source of profound meaning and fulfillment. This sense of purpose provides a buffer against the negative effects of setbacks, allowing individuals to persevere through challenges with greater resilience and determination. How can someone be expected to take the blows that life throws at them if they don't have something to fight for? Sharing stories of individuals who found fulfillment in their work, even when facing challenges or setbacks, can be incredibly inspiring. Consider the story of a social worker who dedicated their life to serving marginalized communities, despite facing low pay, long hours, and emotional burnout. Despite these challenges, they found deep meaning and purpose in their work, knowing that they were making a tangible difference in the lives of others. Or perhaps think of the artist who continued to create, despite facing rejection and criticism, driven by a deep passion for their craft and a belief in the power of art to transform lives. Explaining the concept of flow state reveals how individuals become fully immersed in their work, losing track of time and experiencing a profound sense of joy and accomplishment. Flow, a term coined by psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, is a state of complete absorption in an activity, characterized by a sense of energized focus, full involvement, and enjoyment. During flow, individuals are so engrossed in their work that they lose self-consciousness and experience a sense of timelessness. A musician getting lost in the creative process of composing a song is a perfect scenario to describe flow. Connecting finding meaning to shadow integration suggests that by aligning their work with their values and passions, individuals can tap into their full potential and reduce the need to project blame externally. After all, we can only blame those around us so much. If you are unhappy, you must look inside yourself. Meaning connects to the individual, the passions, what truly brings the individual joy. Challenge yourself to view your work as a form of self-expression and a contribution to something larger than yourself. This sets the stage for the conclusion by emphasizing that focusing on the process, rather than the outcome, can lead to greater satisfaction, resilience, and a deeper sense of purpose. However, finding meaning in mundane or repetitive tasks presents a unique challenge, requiring conscious effort to reframe these tasks as opportunities for mindfulness and self-improvement. Are you truly finding meaning in what you are doing? Focusing on the process, not the outcome, is the culmination of all points previously discussed, emphasizing that the journey will bring a larger sense of peace than the destination. Those things that last in life, that are cherished the most, are typically a culmination of many steps on a path. This perspective is difficult to maintain, which is why it requires constant upkeep. Sharing a story about a man who spent his whole life chasing external validation, only to be unfulfilled at the end of his days, highlights the futility of outcome-focused living. The only way to succeed in life is to enjoy yourself. Showing how by removing the need to be perfect, someone can liberate themselves to truly take action without worry underscores the power of process-oriented thinking. This involves setting realistic expectations, focusing on effort rather than results, and celebrating small wins along the way. Someone who sets realistic expectations for a task and ends up going above and beyond exemplifies this idea perfectly. Connect all previous sections and ideas into this culminating idea, but most importantly, focus on what we are doing instead of where we are going. If the proper steps are taken and the methods outlined in this video are taken, one can underscore that by focusing on the process, the outcome will work itself out. Remember, we are emphasizing the final point to allow for the most clarity. What will you choose? The shift towards process-oriented thinking naturally leads to a more nuanced understanding of failure, one where setbacks are no longer viewed as catastrophic defeats, but as invaluable opportunities for learning and refinement. But is this really possible? Can our perceptions really change our realities? Reframing the concept of failure as a valuable source of feedback requires a fundamental shift in perspective, moving away from the notion that setbacks are signs of inadequacy and embracing the idea that they are essential components of the learning process. Rather than dwelling on the perceived shortcomings of a failed endeavor, consider it as a chance to gain deeper insights into what works and what doesn't, paving the way for more informed and effective strategies moving forward. Think of an athlete constantly receiving feedback from their coach. Each critique, each adjustment is designed to enhance their performance, not to diminish their spirit. Similarly, in life, failure should serve as a catalyst for growth, not a source of discouragement. This approach allows for continuous improvement and resilience in the face of challenges. Analyzing failures objectively requires a systematic approach, involving a careful examination of the factors that contributed to the setback, identifying specific areas for improvement, and developing targeted strategies for addressing them. Consider a marketing campaign that failed to achieve its desired results. Instead of simply dismissing it as a bad campaign, a more constructive approach would involve analyzing the data to determine which aspects of the campaign were ineffective, such as the messaging, the targeting, or the chosen channels. By pinpointing these specific areas, marketers can refine their strategies, adjust their tactics, and create more effective campaigns in the future. This level of scrutiny fosters a culture of learning and adaptation, essential for long-term success. After all, what good is a lesson learned if it isn't properly analyzed? Connecting failure analysis to realistic goal setting involves using the insights gained from setbacks to inform the creation of more achievable objectives and develop more effective plans for achieving them. If a previous goal proved to be unrealistic or unattainable, it may be necessary to adjust expectations, recalibrate timelines, or modify the approach. By understanding the root causes of setbacks, individuals can set more realistic goals, develop more targeted strategies, and increase their chances of success in the future. Think back to the SMART goals discussed previously. How can those be applied to failure? Viewing setbacks as experiments that provide valuable data requires a mindset of curiosity and a willingness to embrace uncertainty. Rather than viewing failures as personal defeats, consider them as opportunities to test hypotheses, gather information, and refine your understanding of the world. Each setback provides valuable data points that can be used to inform future decisions and improve outcomes. It may be best to think of this as a scientific approach to life. Without the proper curiosity, the experiment will be doomed to fail. Approaching failure analysis with self-compassion involves treating yourself with kindness, understanding, and acceptance, even in the face of setbacks. Self-compassion is the key to all success. Instead of engaging in self-criticism or self-blame, acknowledge your imperfections, recognize that setbacks are a normal part of life, and offer yourself encouragement and support. This involves treating yourself as you would treat a friend who is going through a difficult time, offering empathy, understanding, and practical assistance. Without self-compassion, it is nearly impossible to learn from mistakes. But what good is growth without kindness? Building on the foundation of embracing failure as feedback, cultivating discomfort, and expanding your comfort zone becomes crucial for continuous growth and personal development. However, can an individual actually willingly subject themselves to discomfort? Growth often occurs outside of one's comfort zone, which is why it is essential to challenge yourself to step beyond familiar boundaries and embrace new experiences. What can this look like in the real world? This involves pushing your limits, facing your fears, and engaging in activities that make you feel uncomfortable or uncertain. By venturing into unfamiliar territory, you expose yourself to new perspectives, develop new skills, and expand your capacity for adaptation and resilience. It is only when someone challenges their assumptions and embraces the new that can they truly say they are growing. Consider the example of an introvert who forces themselves to attend social gatherings or engage in public speaking, gradually becoming more comfortable and confident in social situations. Gradually expanding one's comfort zone involves taking small, calculated risks and facing challenges that push one's limits, but do so in a manageable way. This could involve setting small, achievable goals, breaking down larger challenges into smaller steps, and celebrating progress along the way. It's also important to seek support from trusted friends, mentors, or coaches who can provide encouragement, guidance, and accountability. Consider someone struggling with social anxiety who makes a conscious effort to talk to one new stranger each day, gradually building their confidence and social skills. If it is gradual, the discomfort will allow for future comfort to be embraced. Cultivating discomfort connects directly to embracing vulnerability, because true comfort can only come when someone is secure with being in a vulnerable position. This entails allowing yourself to be seen, heard, and known by others, even when it feels risky or uncomfortable. It involves letting go of the need to control outcomes, surrendering to the uncertainty of the moment, and trusting that you can handle whatever comes your way. Vulnerability can be a great superpower if properly harnessed. But how does this relate to discomfort? Reframing discomfort as a sign of growth involves shifting your perspective from viewing it as a signal to retreat to recognizing it as an opportunity for learning and expansion. When you feel uncomfortable, it means you are pushing your boundaries, challenging your assumptions, and expanding your horizons. Instead of avoiding discomfort, embrace it as a sign that you are growing, evolving, and becoming a more resilient and capable version of yourself. In this way, discomfort is the ultimate sign of progress. Consider how the phoenix rises from the ashes. Building on the visualization techniques discussed previously, you can mentally prepare yourself for future discomforts by vividly imagining yourself navigating challenging situations with courage, resilience, and grace. This involves rehearsing your responses, practicing coping strategies, and reinforcing your belief in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. It is difficult, but it is not impossible. This mental preparation can significantly reduce anxiety and increase confidence when facing uncomfortable situations in the future. But does this all come down to confidence in oneself? This links directly into self-awareness. Developing self-awareness and emotional intelligence becomes paramount when you are navigating challenges and overcoming the failure effect, acting as a compass that guides you toward more effective and fulfilling outcomes. How can these factors assist you in understanding failure? Self-awareness and emotional intelligence both play critical roles in understanding the failure effect. Self-awareness enables you to recognize your own tendencies to attribute failures to external factors, while emotional intelligence equips you with the skills to manage your reactions to setbacks constructively. This allows you to take a more objective view of your experiences, understand your emotional responses, and make informed decisions that support your growth and resilience. Emotional intelligence involves understanding your own emotions and how they impact your thoughts and behaviors, as well as recognizing and responding to the emotions of others. It encompasses skills such as self-awareness, self-regulation, empathy, and social skills. These skills enable you to navigate relationships effectively, communicate clearly, and manage conflict constructively. Without these skills, it becomes difficult to function effectively in society. But what can the individual do to better connect to these ideas? Cultivating self-awareness involves engaging in practices such as journaling, mindfulness, and seeking feedback from trusted others. Journaling provides a space for reflection and self-exploration, allowing you to examine your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors in a non-judgmental way. Mindfulness involves paying attention to the present moment with curiosity and acceptance, allowing you to observe your thoughts and emotions without getting carried away by them. Seeking feedback from trusted others can provide valuable insights into your blind spots and areas for improvement. An individual who recognizes their tendency to become defensive when receiving criticism can use mindfulness techniques to observe their emotional responses without reacting impulsively, allowing them to engage in more constructive dialogue. This level of understanding is key for all moving forward. Connecting self-awareness to shadow integration suggests that understanding your own triggers, biases, and emotional patterns reduces the likelihood of projecting blame or reacting defensively. By confronting and integrating your shadow aspects, you can become more aware of your unconscious motivations and behaviors, enabling you to take responsibility for your actions and make more conscious choices. It also involves acknowledging and accepting your flaws, weaknesses, and limitations, recognizing that these are also integral parts of who you are. The most successful people in the world are incredibly self-aware. But are those people truly happy? Viewing your emotions as valuable sources of information involves shifting your perspective from seeing them as obstacles to overcome to recognizing them as signals that provide insights into your needs, values, and priorities. Instead of suppressing or ignoring your emotions, learn to listen to them, understand what they are telling you, and use them as a guide for making decisions and taking actions that align with your authentic self. Someone who feels anxious about a particular task can explore the underlying reasons for their anxiety, such as fear of failure or lack of confidence, and take steps to address these concerns. These emotions must be analyzed at all costs. But what does all this lead to? Setting the stage for building resilience, self-awareness, and emotional intelligence provide the foundation for developing the resilience needed to navigate challenges, overcome setbacks, and thrive in the face of adversity. When we understand and accept ourselves, we create space for true growth. But growth is simply not enough. Transformation must take place. This leads to transforming adversity into an advantage. But how can we do this? Presenting the idea that adversity can be a catalyst for growth, resilience, and innovation requires shifting your perspective from viewing setbacks as insurmountable obstacles to recognizing them as opportunities for learning, growth, and transformation. After all, many things were only discovered due to someone failing. Adversity can force you to reevaluate your priorities, develop new skills, and discover hidden strengths that you never knew you possessed. It can also deepen your sense of empathy, compassion, and connection with others. Stories of triumph are always stories that begin with tragedy. Sharing strategies for transforming adversity into advantage involves reframing challenges as opportunities, seeking out new perspectives, and developing creative solutions. When faced with a setback, ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? How can I use this challenge to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient? This requires a willingness to think outside the box, challenge conventional assumptions, and embrace experimentation. One who loses their job might see it as an opportunity to start their own business, pursue a new career path, or acquire new skills. Connecting transforming adversity to amor fati requires embracing setbacks as an integral part of your life's journey, recognizing that they can contribute to your growth, resilience, and overall well-being. By embracing adversity, you can develop a deeper appreciation for the present moment, cultivate gratitude for the good things in your life, and discover a greater sense of meaning and purpose. It also entails recognizing that while you may not always be able to control what happens to you, you can always control how you respond. When adversity is embraced, it strengthens the individual. This leads to the ultimate realization, which is that one can learn to love their fate. Viewing setbacks as stepping stones requires shifting your perspective from seeing them as roadblocks on the path to success to recognizing them as essential milestones that propel you forward. Each setback provides valuable lessons, insights, and experiences that can help you navigate future challenges with greater wisdom and resilience. This involves embracing a growth mindset, viewing setbacks as opportunities for learning and development, and cultivating a belief in your ability to overcome any obstacle that comes your way. Setbacks will be there, no matter how failure-proof you think you may be. Reinforcing all previous topics serves as a reminder that overcoming the failure effect requires a holistic approach that integrates self-awareness, emotional intelligence, resilience, and a growth mindset. By developing these qualities, you can transform adversity into advantage, cultivate amor fati, and create a life filled with meaning, purpose, and fulfillment. Each tool discussed throughout this video is designed to create a life worth living. Elevating the stakes involves emphasizing that taking these final steps can unlock your full potential, enabling you to achieve your goals, fulfill your dreams, and live a life of purpose and impact. With each previous topic, the stakes continue to be elevated. These tools unlock the key to becoming truly failure-proof, but it is up to the individual to apply them. As final words on the topic, keep in mind that while there may be no such thing as being truly failure-proof, we can learn to view failure as an inevitable and valuable part of the journey, and in doing so, dramatically change our relationship to it. But what is to be done next? Building upon a foundation of self-awareness and resilience, we now turn our attention to the tangible structures that support consistent effort and minimize the impact of unforeseen setbacks, the systems we create for ourselves. How can a system insulate you from failure? The importance of creating systems cannot be overstated. Systems provide a framework for consistent action, guiding behavior and decision-making even when motivation wanes or unexpected challenges arise. A well-designed system acts as a buffer against the capricious nature of luck, ensuring that progress continues even when circumstances are less than ideal. Imagine a garden. Without a system for watering, weeding, and fertilizing, even the most promising seeds will wither and die. Similarly, without systems in place to manage our time, resources, and energy, our goals are likely to remain elusive. Effective systems encompass clear objectives, well-defined procedures, regular feedback mechanisms, and accountability structures. It's not just about working hard. It's about working smart. How can someone go about systematizing their life? Consider a business owner who meticulously creates systems for every facet of their operation, from customer support and marketing to product development and financial management. By establishing clear protocols, assigning responsibilities, and implementing regular performance reviews, this owner ensures that their business operates smoothly and efficiently, even in the face of unexpected market fluctuations or competitive pressures. Customer inquiries are promptly addressed, marketing campaigns are strategically executed, products are developed and launched on schedule, and finances are carefully monitored and managed. This attention to detail creates a resilient organization capable of weathering storms and seizing opportunities as they arise. A business is the perfect playground to build different systems. How can this apply to life? System building connects directly to realistic goal setting. By breaking down large, ambitious goals into smaller, more manageable tasks, individuals can increase their chances of success and reduce the likelihood of discouragement. Each completed task provides a sense of accomplishment, fueling motivation and reinforcing the belief that progress is indeed possible. This incremental approach transforms daunting challenges into achievable milestones, making the journey towards success feel less overwhelming and more sustainable. If a writer sets a goal of writing a book, they might break it down into smaller tasks, such as writing one chapter per week, or even just a few hundred words per day. This systematic approach allows for steady progress and prevents the writer from becoming overwhelmed by the sheer size of the project. This approach contrasts with simply hopping to be successful. What if our lives were viewed as one interconnected system? Viewing your life as a series of interconnected systems, rather than a collection of isolated events, allows you to identify patterns, anticipate challenges, and optimize your approach for maximum effectiveness. This holistic perspective emphasizes the importance of understanding how different aspects of your life interact and influence one another. Recognizing these connections allows you to make informed decisions, allocate resources wisely, and create a harmonious balance that supports your overall well-being. Just as the organs in the human body work together to maintain overall health, the various systems in your life should work in synergy to support your goals and aspirations. The key here is harmony. How does consistency play into this? Setting the stage for the discussion on the power of habits, understand that systems are built upon consistent routines and practices that, over time, become ingrained in our daily lives. Consistency is the cornerstone of any successful system, transforming intentions into actions and actions into results. It is the unwavering commitment to following through on established procedures, even when motivation wanes or distractions abound. Without consistency, systems become fragile and ineffective, prone to disruption by the slightest setback or unexpected event. The magic lies in the daily grind. What happens if a system is not consistent? Without the right systems in place, bad luck can indeed be devastating. A single unforeseen event can trigger a cascade of negative consequences, leading to financial ruin, missed opportunities, and shattered dreams. However, with robust systems in place to mitigate risks, manage resources, and adapt to changing circumstances, individuals can weather the storms of life with greater resilience and emerge stronger on the other side. This proactive approach transforms potential disasters into manageable challenges, minimizing the impact of bad luck and preserving the momentum toward success. This is why systems are key. This momentum can be greatly improved with habits. Introducing the concept of habits as the fundamental building blocks of long-term success, let us now consider how small, consistent actions can yield extraordinary results over time. A single habit, seemingly insignificant on its own, can, when repeated consistently, trigger a cascade of positive effects that transform lives. It's about the power of showing up, day after day, and putting in the work, even when it feels difficult or inconvenient. What habits have changed the world? Consider a man who commits to meditating for just 5 minutes each day. Initially, the practice may seem trivial, with little discernible impact on his overall well-being. However, over time, as he consistently carves out those 5 minutes for quiet reflection, he begins to experience a profound shift in his mental state. He becomes more mindful, more centered, and more resilient to stress. His relationships improve, his productivity increases, and his overall sense of well-being soars. All this from a mere 5 minutes of daily meditation. Can this be repeated? To create and maintain positive habits, employ strategies such as habit stacking and implementation intentions. Habit stacking involves linking new habits to existing routines, making it easier to integrate them into your daily life. For example, someone might create a habit of doing 10 push-ups immediately after brushing their teeth each morning. Implementation intentions involve specifying when, where, and how a habit will be performed, increasing the likelihood that it will be followed through. A student might resolve to study for 1 hour every evening in the library, from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m., with no distractions. These strategies transform intentions into actions, making it easier to stick to positive habits over the long term. However, what is to be done if the habit is broken? Connecting habit formation to self-compassion, understand that by forgiving yourself for occasional slip-ups and focusing on getting back on track, you can prevent negative habits from spiraling out of control. Everyone stumbles from time to time. The key is to respond to setbacks with kindness, understanding, and acceptance, rather than self-criticism and self-blame. Recognize that perfection is unattainable and that occasional lapses are a normal part of the human experience. Treat yourself as you would treat a friend who has made a mistake. How can one be self-compassionate? This links habits to self-compassion by recognizing that negative momentum can occur when you are unnecessarily cruel to yourself. This involves practicing self-kindness, recognizing your common humanity, and cultivating mindfulness. Self-kindness involves treating yourself with warmth, understanding, and acceptance, even when you fall short of your expectations. Recognizing your common humanity involves acknowledging that everyone makes mistakes, experiences setbacks, and struggles with imperfections. Cultivating mindfulness involves paying attention to your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors without judgment, allowing you to respond to challenges with greater clarity and compassion. This leads to greater control over oneself. What is the end goal? Focusing on making small, incremental improvements each day, rather than striving for perfection, is what leads to growth. The journey toward success is paved with small, consistent steps, each one building upon the last. Rather than becoming overwhelmed by the magnitude of your goals, focus on making small, manageable progress each day, celebrating each milestone along the way. This incremental approach transforms daunting challenges into achievable objectives, making the journey feel less intimidating and more rewarding. Progress is the name of the game. How can we prepare for when others try to halt our progress? Preparing for external forces and comments requires cultivating a mindset of resilience, self-belief, and unwavering commitment to your goals. There will always be naysayers, critics, and doubters who attempt to undermine your efforts and discourage you from pursuing your dreams. The key is to remain focused on your vision, surround yourself with supportive individuals, and refuse to let the negativity of others derail you from your chosen path. Remember that your worth is not determined by the opinions of others, but by the value you create and the impact you have on the world. The journey will never be easy. Is there a point to the consistency? Reinforcing the need to be consistent with your habits, understand that consistency transforms intentions into actions and actions into results. It is the unwavering commitment to showing up, day after day, and putting in the work, even when motivation wanes or distractions abound. Without consistency, habits become fragile and ineffective, prone to disruption by the slightest setback or unexpected event. Consistency is the cornerstone of long-term success. Even if it is a small amount of work, it is important to show up. Now, what happens when that effort is ridiculed? Reframing criticism as a valuable tool for growth requires shifting your perspective from viewing it as a personal attack to recognizing it as an opportunity for learning, improvement, and refinement. Criticism, when delivered constructively, provides valuable insights into your blind spots, weaknesses, and areas for development. Rather than becoming defensive or dismissive, embrace criticism as a gift that can help you grow stronger, wiser, and more capable. No one likes to be criticized, but it is a key component of growth. Is there someone who seeks out criticism? Highlighting someone who actively sought out criticism, consider the example of Steve Jobs, who was known for his demanding and often abrasive leadership style. While his methods were sometimes controversial, Jobs recognized the importance of honest feedback in driving innovation and excellence. He surrounded himself with individuals who were not afraid to challenge his ideas, point out his flaws, and push him to be better. Jobs understood that criticism, even when delivered harshly, could provide valuable insights that would ultimately lead to better products and a more successful company. It's all about knowing how to use the tool. However, there is a problem with that. What is to be done with bad reviews? When receiving a bad review, a business owner who receives negative feedback from customers can use this information to identify areas for improvement in their products or services. If multiple customers complain about the same issue, such as slow response times or poor product quality, the business owner can address these concerns, improve their offerings, and enhance customer satisfaction. The key is to remain objective, avoid getting defensive, and focus on extracting actionable insights from the feedback. Criticism can be used as a magnifying glass. How can we best use our critical thinking? Connecting feedback to self-awareness, it is important to understand your own biases and triggers. This reduces the likelihood of reacting defensively or dismissively to criticism. Self-awareness allows you to recognize when your emotions are clouding your judgment, enabling you to respond to feedback with greater objectivity and openness. By understanding your own strengths and weaknesses, you can better assess the validity of the criticism and determine whether it is something you need to address. Self-awareness is truly a superpower in disguise. How does this connect back to biases and triggers? This connects back to biases and understanding the triggers that set you off, because this leads to the ability to anticipate your reactions and to reframe your thinking to be more receptive. This self-awareness transforms defensiveness into curiosity, turning criticism into a valuable opportunity for learning and growth. A crucial part of this is learning that criticism is not just a personal attack. It is important to shift from defensiveness to curiosity. Viewing criticism as an opportunity to learn and grow is the hallmark of a growth-oriented mindset. Rather than becoming defensive or dismissive, embrace criticism as a chance to gain new perspectives, challenge your assumptions, and refine your approach. Adopt a curious and inquisitive attitude, asking questions, seeking clarification, and exploring the underlying reasons behind the feedback. This proactive approach transforms criticism from a threat into a valuable tool for self-improvement. Self-improvement can only occur when there is something to be improved. Now, what is the thread throughout all these ideas? Threading the idea of the failure effect by identifying and responding to feedback, understand that you are actively taking control of your narrative and reclaiming agency over your circumstances. The failure effect thrives on passivity and learned helplessness, leading you to believe that you are at the mercy of external forces. By actively seeking out and responding to feedback, you are demonstrating a proactive commitment to growth, resilience, and self-improvement, shattering the illusion of powerlessness and embracing your capacity to shape your own destiny. Feedback is a sign of progress. Is all criticism of equal value? Not all criticism is equal, so focus on finding that which leads to tangible insights. It is crucial to discern between constructive and destructive criticism, filtering out the noise and focusing on the information that can truly help you improve. Constructive criticism is specific, actionable, and delivered with the intention of helping you grow. Destructive criticism is vague, personal, and intended to tear you down. Focus on extracting the valuable nuggets of wisdom from the feedback while discarding the rest. Not everything should be held onto. With that in mind, the wrong feedback can be devastating. Bad feedback can result in doubling down on strategies that are already failing. If you are blindly following advice that is not aligned with your values, goals, or circumstances, you may find yourself wasting time, energy, and resources on ineffective approaches. It is important to think critically about the feedback you receive, assess its validity, and determine whether it is something you need to act upon. This requires self-awareness, discernment, and a willingness to trust your own intuition. Trust in yourself, but don't overestimate your abilities. As a reminder, life is a continuous cycle of chaos. The points discussed in this video are designed to guide viewers on the path toward inner peace. But what does inner peace really mean? Embracing chaos means accepting the inherent unpredictability of life and learning to navigate uncertainty with grace, resilience, and equanimity. It involves letting go of the illusion of control, surrendering to the flow of events, and trusting in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. Rather than resisting change, embrace it as an opportunity for growth, innovation, and transformation. Chaos is not something to be feared, but something to be embraced. After all, out of chaos, order can be born. Are all the points made in this video truly necessary? All topics discussed are necessary in the search for inner peace. By cultivating self-awareness, embracing failure, building systems, fostering habits, and leveraging feedback, you equip yourself with the tools and resources needed to navigate challenges, overcome setbacks, and create a life filled with meaning, purpose, and fulfillment. These practices work in synergy, creating a holistic approach to personal growth and well-being. As these points intertwine, the more peace will be accessible. But can anyone achieve inner peace? Highlighting stories of those who embrace the lessons learned, consider the example of Viktor Frankl, who found meaning and purpose in the face of unimaginable suffering in Nazi concentration camps. Despite enduring horrific conditions, Frankl discovered that he had the power to choose his attitude and find meaning in his experiences, even in the midst of profound adversity. His experiences highlight the need for a proactive mindset. Is there a common link throughout everything discussed? Connecting all previous points, there is one constant: change. Change is inevitable. As beings in the universe, we all have a shared destiny, our destiny of living and dying. To live is to change. Our ability to change ourselves is truly a superpower. If we are at peace with the fact that we will die one day, we can live the best lives possible. Live it to the fullest. Learn everything you can. Make mistakes, but be sure to learn from them. In turn, you will find peace. This is the destination, and the journey. Is it all worth it? Viewing the journey as the destination means finding joy, contentment, and fulfillment in the present moment, rather than constantly striving for some future outcome. It involves appreciating the small wins, celebrating the milestones along the way, and recognizing that the process of growth and self-discovery is just as valuable as the end result. If one embraces the journey, one can reach a state of euphoria. What is to be done along the way? Underscoring the need for growth, not perfection, is the acknowledgement that striving for perfection can lead to paralysis, frustration, and self-doubt. Embrace imperfection as an integral part of the human experience, recognizing that mistakes, setbacks, and failures are opportunities for learning and growth. Focus on making progress rather than achieving perfection, and celebrate your accomplishments, no matter how small. This will lead to tangible results. What happens without embracing peace? Without embracing peace, a constant state of suffering will be the normal. Instead, find those small pieces of peace so that when chaos comes, you have a strong foundation to stand on. synthesizing the concepts of self-awareness, resilience, amor fati, a growth mindset, a strong support system, and the pursuit of meaningful work. A failure-proof mindset begins to emerge. But it is key to clarify that a failure-proof existence isn't about dodging failure entirely. Rather, it's about fundamentally transforming your relationship with it. It's a shift from fearing the fall to understanding that the fall is often the most direct path to wisdom. What does this transformation look like in practice? Picture this. An entrepreneur with a failure-proof mindset launches a new product that flops. Instead of spiraling into despair, they analyze the market data, gather customer feedback, and identify the shortcomings of their product. They embrace the setback as a learning opportunity, using the insights gained to refine their approach and develop an even better product. They understand that failure is not a reflection of their worth, but a valuable source of information that propels them forward. They approach the next venture not with trepidation, but with excitement and a deeper understanding of the landscape. How would this compare to someone who does not possess this mindset? It's a mindset characterized by accepting uncertainty as an inherent part of life, embracing vulnerability as a source of strength, and viewing mistakes as opportunities for growth. It's about approaching life with a sense of curiosity and openness, rather than rigid expectations and fear. Instead of striving for an unattainable state of perfection, individuals with a failure-proof mindset focus on progress, resilience, and continuous learning. They know that setbacks are inevitable, but they refuse to let them define their worth or limit their potential. This leads to a proactive approach to life. But how do you turn proactive? Taking calculated risks is an example of a proactive approach to life. Setting realistic goals and building systems that support their efforts become a natural part of the way of thinking. It's a move away from simply reacting to circumstances to actively shaping your own destiny. It's about taking ownership of your life, embracing your agency, and recognizing that you have the power to create the future you desire, even in the face of adversity. As these ideas are explored, it is important to acknowledge that each person has their own unique mindset, shaped by their experiences, beliefs, and values. Just like a fingerprint, no two mindsets are exactly alike. Can two people possess similar mindsets? The reality is each person has their own path to follow. What's more important is the peace that comes with this mindset. It's a peace rooted in self-acceptance, resilience, and the unwavering belief in your capacity to overcome challenges and create a meaningful life. It's a peace that transcends circumstances, allowing you to navigate the storms of life with grace, equanimity, and an unwavering sense of hope. It is a destination worth striving for. However, where is the starting point? Now that we've seen what the destination looks like, let's explore a potential starting point on this journey: self-knowledge. Self-knowledge is the bedrock of resilience, the ultimate defense against the failure effect. Without a deep understanding of yourself, your values, your motivations, and your patterns, you're essentially navigating life without a map, vulnerable to the whims of external forces and the seductive allure of self-deception. Understanding the importance of knowing your own weaknesses and strengths lays a foundation. But how is that obtained? Self-knowledge is understanding one's values, beliefs, motivations, and emotional patterns. It's about getting honest with yourself about who you are, what you stand for, and what truly matters to you. It's about recognizing your strengths and weaknesses, acknowledging your limitations, and accepting yourself with all your imperfections. It's about understanding what drives your behavior, what triggers your emotions, and what patterns you tend to repeat, both positive and negative. This authenticity provides a sense of peace. Does one know who they are? Highlighting the need to be true to yourself, it is important to note that there will be external forces trying to change who you are. However, by embracing self-knowledge, integrating your shadow, accepting imperfections and vulnerabilities, you can develop a more authentic and compassionate relationship with yourself. This transforms your relationship with others and how you are perceived. As this is being developed, How do others change this? This is where you need to recognize your shadow self. As Carl Jung suggested, everyone has a shadow self that they must integrate. This is the only way to truly find inner peace. As you continue on this journey, what is the final destination? As you embark on a journey of self-discovery, understand that there are many roads to take. No one way is the right way. As Joseph Campbell says, follow your bliss. As the journey continues, you'll start to see more clearly, and life will become more fulfilling. What is the consequence for not finding yourself? Without knowing yourself, you are doomed to fail. So let's pivot and look at the ultimate antidote to not knowing yourself: meaningful contribution. If we are always self-serving, can we achieve true inner peace? True resilience comes from connecting with something larger than oneself and making a meaningful contribution to the world. It's about shifting your focus from your own needs and desires to the needs of others, finding purpose and fulfillment in serving something greater than yourself. It's about recognizing that your life has value not just for what you can get, but for what you can give. Those who contribute to society tend to be happier and more fulfilled. How does one contribute? By volunteering their time to help others, individuals find a sense of purpose and fulfillment that transcends their own struggles. They discover that by giving back to the community, they are not only making a positive impact on the lives of others, but also enriching their own lives in profound ways. This act can lead to more inner peace. What is the caveat? This can only happen by reinforcing contribution and all previous concepts. By understanding the need to take the focus off of oneself, there needs to be a drive to help others. This drive can provide a sense of purpose, reduce self-focus, and foster a sense of connection and belonging. Self-service will not bring inner peace. But how does one balance self-service with helping others? Focusing on personal gain will not bring fulfillment. But by shifting that focus to others and positively impacting the lives of others, true meaning can be found. With this new state of thinking, what comes next? Pulling together all the sections of this video, the final truth is that life is the journey and not the destination. If this concept is understood, inner peace can be achieved. As we move forward, how can this be applied to your own life? To be alive is to experience the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. There will be struggles and chaos. It is all a part of the process. Embrace the feelings and learn from them. Someone reaches the top of the mountain only to realize there is another mountain to climb. This is how one finds oneself. Is it an endless loop? All previous topics and future topics that will be discussed are all interconnected. To truly find inner peace, all areas must be taken into consideration. This has been said many times, but it is important to note. It is a journey that is never truly complete. How does one come to terms with this? As we end this section, it is important to remind viewers to enjoy the ride, embrace the lessons, and keep looking forward. The ability to remember this point can lead to the ultimate euphoric feeling. What does that require? With that understanding, remember that each and every person is capable of finding this peace within themselves and the world. You simply need to have the courage to go out and find it. The stage has been set for the final conclusion. The tragedy of the failure effect lies in its insidious cycle. Attributing setbacks to bad luck leads to diminished agency, which in turn fosters helplessness and ultimately invites more failure. This self-fulfilling prophecy can trap individuals in a state of perpetual victimhood, preventing them from realizing their full potential. Are you falling into the trap? The antidote lies in a multifaceted approach that integrates the key principles discussed throughout this exploration. Shadow work allows one to confront and integrate disowned aspects of the self, dismantling projections and reclaiming personal responsibility. Amor fati, the love of fate, transforms perceived misfortunes into opportunities for growth and self-discovery. Goal setting provides direction and purpose, while mindful reframing allows one to challenge negative thought patterns and cultivate a more empowering perspective. All of these components lead to the ultimate, failure-proof mindset. Have you set some goals? Overcoming the failure effect is not about avoiding failure altogether, but rather about fundamentally transforming one's relationship with it. It's about embracing failure as a teacher, a catalyst for growth, and a necessary ingredient for success. Focusing on the process rather than the outcome, on effort rather than innate ability, and on learning rather than proving, allows one to cultivate a growth-oriented mindset that thrives on challenges and views setbacks as temporary detours rather than insurmountable obstacles. Is your mindset fixed or growth-oriented? True success is not defined by external achievements or material possessions, but by inner resilience, self-awareness, and meaningful contribution. It's about living a life aligned with one's values, pursuing passions with intention, and making a positive impact on the world, regardless of the obstacles encountered along the way. This pursuit of meaning brings more inner peace. It is a journey well worth pursuing. But how does this affect everyone else? Facing adversity and searching for meaning is a fundamental part of the human experience. Setbacks are universal, and our response to them shapes not only our own lives, but also our relationships and communities. Recognizing this shared human condition fosters compassion, empathy, and a deeper understanding of others' struggles. What does this mean in practice? Overcoming the failure effect has ripple effects that extend far beyond individual success. By embodying resilience, self-awareness, and a growth-oriented mindset, we can inspire others to do the same, creating a more supportive and empowering community. When you embrace these qualities, you inspire others. But how does this impact the world? Sharing these insights with others creates a ripple effect of positivity and growth, fostering a culture of resilience and self-empowerment. Embracing these principles allows one to live a more authentic, fulfilling, and meaningful life, characterized by purpose, connection, and a deep sense of inner peace. Focusing on what you can give to the world will leave a lasting impact. Striving for meaning over money will lead to inner peace, and by finding that peace, you become whole and holy. The true reward lies not in the destination, but in the journey of growth and learning from failure. When will you get started? Imagine again that person consistently facing setbacks, but now they possess a failure-proof mindset. When confronted with a challenge, they proactively identify and address their attribution biases, recognizing any tendency to blame external factors or downplay their own role. They challenge their learned helplessness by taking small, incremental steps toward their goals, celebrating their progress along the way. They integrate their shadow qualities, acknowledging their imperfections and vulnerabilities, and using them as fuel for growth. And above all, they embrace amor fati, accepting whatever comes their way with equanimity and a determination to learn and grow. What is their outcome? Is it just bad luck, or is something more at play? While luck undoubtedly plays a role in life, our perception, response, and mindset are far more influential in determining our outcomes. Personal responsibility, self-awareness, and proactive action are the most effective antidotes to the tragedy of bad luck, empowering us to create our own opportunities and shape our own destinies, regardless of external circumstances. You've heard the saying, you create your own luck. Setbacks are inevitable, but they don't have to define us. Growth comes from hardship and failure, from the lessons we learn and the resilience we cultivate in the face of adversity. Embrace failure as a stepping stone, not a stumbling block. Every failure is a building block. Embrace both the light and the dark aspects of yourself, recognizing that wholeness is not about perfection, but about integration. Be true to yourself, your values, and your purpose. Without the lows, there are no highs, and both are necessary to be whole. Who are you? How will you choose to respond to the inevitable setbacks in your life, and what will you create from them? Explore Stoicism, Jungian psychology, or positive psychology. Consider subscribing for more content on this topic. The journey awaits. There is immense potential for continued growth and transformation. Share your experiences, insights, and questions in the comments, fostering a sense of community and shared exploration. This helps everyone involved. Continue your journey of self-discovery, resilience, and meaningful contribution. Take action today. You are capable, you are strong, and you are able to achieve your goals.